Okay, let's get into your reading, Scorpio. Okay, is about to approach you to be in a relationship with you. So I'm telling you, there is someone here very unexpectedly that is going to enter into your life, whether this is someone that you have known or a new person. We'll kind of get into the details of everything. But what I do want to say is that the Fool shows a very unexpected energy. The Fool. This is Uranus energy. Uranus is spontaneous. It's very abrupt. It's very sudden. It just drops by and you just think to yourself, hang on a second, I'm a little bit busy, but go on, talk. What would you like? And you know what? You'll be really surprised because I feel like at that time you'll be quite busy. And I want to sit with the Fool for a moment, loves, because this card always carries a leap. A figure walking toward a cliff edge seemingly without a care. A small dog nipping at their heels trying to warn them. But the Fool isn't reckless. They're simply trusting. And that trust is exactly the energy this person is walking toward you with. You'll have a lot going on. And this will come so unexpectedly that you will literally think to yourself, really, like now? Is now looking like the right time for you? You know, where were you this entire time when I really needed it? Why now? And I want to honor that exact question for a second, loves, because it isn't petty or ungrateful to ask it. You're allowed to feel every bit of that confusion, even while the excitement is building right alongside it. And it's because, to a degree, you're not expecting it. Your energy is very different. Your energy is much more focused on other areas and other aspects. And I want to sit with that frustration for a moment, loves, because it's such an honest human reaction. You spent real time hoping for this, and it simply didn't come. And now that you've built a life that doesn't depend on it anymore, here it is, almost teasingly, arriving anyway. And I want to remind you, loves, that irony doesn't cancel out how genuinely good this actually is. Life has a strange sense of timing sometimes, and this reading isn't asking you to pretend that timing doesn't sting a little. It's simply asking you to let the good part win in the end. So there's a bit of, as happy as you will seem, and you will feel that, okay, this person now really wants something here. You'll also feel very frustrated that this entire time I was looking, I was searching, I was waiting. You didn't come at that time. And now that I literally couldn't care less whether you exist or not, now you're going to come in. Okay, and there's a bit of frustration there because you have waited, you have wanted, you have felt connected to this, you have really wanted this, and it hasn't happened in those moments. And I want to honor how many of those moments there probably were, loves. The quiet nights wondering, the times you almost gave up hoping altogether. None of that waiting was wasted. It was simply the space between the wanting and the arriving. And that space is finally closing. And so when it does happen, there's a sense here of feeling frustrated and a bit agitated, but also at the same time happy. So those are your emotions. And it's okay. Emotions don't have to be linear, right? You don't have to feel perfect and happy all the time. In fact, that is a little bit unrealistic. We can't expect the seasons to always be the exact same. Every single season, right? You can't expect the weather to be the same every single day. We can't expect the weather to be hot every single day because then we would lose our seasons. So of course there will be rain, there will be sun. So it's okay that you have these mixed emotions and feelings because you're a human being. And that is the power of being a human being. And I love that phrase, loves the power of being human, because so often our complicated emotions get treated like a weakness, something to fix or apologize for. But the full range of what you're feeling right now is exactly what makes you capable of receiving something this real. And I want to say something more about that mixed feeling, loves, because I know some of you are worried that being frustrated somehow means you're not grateful. It doesn't. You can hold real joy in one hand and real honest frustration in the other, and both belong to you completely. Real people are rarely one clean emotion at a time, loves, and this reading isn't asking you to be. You're allowed to be thrilled and slightly annoyed in the very same breath, and none of that makes the joy any less real. Give yourself full permission for that complexity, loves. Instead of forcing yourself into whatever emotion feels more presentable in the moment. So we have here some more information. The reason why this person comes in is because they want to shoot their shot before they've lost their shot. Basically, they don't want you to end up with someone else. They want to take action sooner rather than later, and it will happen at a very inconvenient time for you because, again, you'll be sort of focused on your own stuff. You'll be quite busy with your own energy and things that you've got going on for yourself. You'll be very focused on your life, what makes you feel good. You'll be focused on what makes you happy. And I want to name why that specific season matters so much, loves. Because a life fully centered on yourself first isn't selfish. It's the exact foundation that makes room for someone else to actually add to it, instead of being asked to complete something that felt empty without them. That difference, loves, between addition and completion is the difference between a healthy relationship and a desperate one. You'll be focused on your own sense of self and sense of being. You'll be much more focused on you. And because you will be much more focused on you, you won't be as heavily focused on this person necessarily. And that is boom, when they decide to come in. And that can sort of take you back a bit as well, because you might think to yourself, wow, is this what it really comes down to? You know, not caring allows a person to care. And the truth here is, it's just because you're quite busy, and I want to sit with that phrase, loves. Not caring allows a person to care, because it sounds almost like a trick at first, but it isn't manipulation. It's simply that your wholeness, your own fullness, is magnetic in a way that searching never was. Think about it honestly for a second, loves. When has desperation ever actually drawn someone closer? It rarely does. But a person who is genuinely occupied living their own full life, laughing with friends, chasing their own goals, radiates something completely different, something that pulls people in precisely because it isn't reaching for them at all. And then also with the Eight of Cups here as well, the Eight of Cups, I do feel here that regardless of whether this is someone you have known or whether it is a new person, this person has done a lot of soul searching. It's not so obvious to me whether this is a new person or a past person. All I know is that you will really like this person. You will feel connected to this person. You will feel drawn to this person. And I want to say something about that pull, loves, because it won't feel like the anxious, uncertain kind of attraction you may have felt before. It will feel calm, almost familiar, the way something feels when it's genuinely right. Rather than just exciting, chaos can feel thrilling, loves, but calm is what actually lasts. But also, at the same time, you will think to yourself, could you not have come sooner? Could you not have just come a little bit sooner? Could you not just have made a little bit more effort? And you know what's really interesting? I feel like if you ever brought that up to them in terms of conversation, they'll literally say like, yeah, sorry, I wanted to come sooner, but I just couldn't. And I want you to notice how simple that admission is, loves. No elaborate excuse, no over-explaining, just a plain, honest truth. That simplicity itself is a sign of real emotional maturity, because people still working through their own defensiveness tend to over-justify everything. You know, they'll kind of say something along the lines of that. So the Eight of Cups here shows they've done a lot of soul searching, a lot of healing. They absolutely don't want you to end up with someone else, okay? Which is why they're coming forward. And I want to say something about that fear, loves, the fear of you ending up with someone else. It's not possessive or controlling. It's simply the honest urgency of someone who has finally recognized exactly what they almost let slip away. And I want to sit with the Eight of Cups a little longer, loves, because this card always shows someone walking away from something familiar under a full moon alone towards something they can't quite see yet. That's exactly what this person did with their own life before they were ready to walk toward you. And I want you to notice, loves, that the figure in this card always walks away barefoot, without their usual cups fully secured behind them. That vulnerability was necessary. They had to leave something imperfect and unfinished behind in order to find whatever it was they were actually searching for. The King of Cups. And we have here as well the King of Cups. Now, a lot of this soul searching and healing within themselves has allowed them to become much more emotionally mature, emotionally available, emotionally kind, emotionally respectful, emotionally supportive towards you. You will not find a half-empty person coming towards you. You will find someone who has done a lot of their own inner work, which they will very much describe. And I love that detail, loves, that they will actually describe it to you, rather than leaving you to guess or piece it together on your own. Communication like that is rare, and it's exactly what makes this connection feel different from anything you've experienced before. Someone who has found peace, loves, real peace, the kind that doesn't depend on their circumstances staying perfect. Someone who has found ground in their life. Someone who really just speaks with conviction. And I want to name why conviction matters so much here, loves, because it's different from confidence, which can sometimes just be performance. Conviction comes from someone who has actually tested their own values against real hardship and found they still hold. That's not a personality trait. That's proof. Someone who really appreciates everything in life and is not bitter. They are better, and I want to name why that particular pairing matters so much, loves. Bitter and better sound almost alike, but they lead completely different lives. Bitterness closes a person off, hardens them. Betterness, if I can call it that, keeps a person soft and open, even after everything they've survived. And that's what I'm seeing here, is that this person has had trauma in their life, especially as a child, I feel, and they have had some bitter circumstances. And I want to hold space for that for a moment, loves, because childhood wounds shape people in ways that echo for decades. Whatever they carried from those early years, they didn't let it decide who they became. That takes a specific kind of strength that isn't loud or obvious, but it's real. You'll feel that quiet strength every day, loves, in how steady they stay even when things get hard. But despite that, I feel like, they only want to get to a place of being better, of being stronger, of being happier. There is so much more peace. There is so much more joy. There is so much more happiness. And it only gets better and better as time progresses. And I want you to trust that upward trajectory, loves, because it means whatever you experience with them at the beginning is genuinely the earliest, least developed version of what's coming. Every month, every year that follows tends to deepen rather than fade. There is so much more victory. There's so much more happiness. There is so much more fulfillment. And I want you to actually let those words land individually. Loves, victory, happiness, fulfillment. Not one big dramatic moment, but a whole accumulating season of them. One after another. And that's exactly how the best things arrive, loves. Not all at once, but steadily, reliably. Each new good thing confirming the last. And it's because, they come to you with that sense of, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to be with you. And I want you to notice that repetition, loves. I want to do this said twice, because certainty like that doesn't usually need repeating unless it's completely genuine. This isn't hesitant interest. This is someone who has already fully decided. That decision was made, loves, before they even said a word to you. And knowing that, loves, changes how you get to receive it. Not as a question mark, but as a settled, quiet fact. And I want to honor how much work it actually takes, loves, to turn a childhood wound into a genuine wellspring of patience and warmth for someone else. Most people who carry early trauma either stay stuck in it or pass it forward without meaning to. This person chose the harder, rarer path, the one that leads to actually healing it. And I want you to consider what that healing actually cost them, loves. Not in a dramatic sense, but in the quiet, unglamorous sense of showing up to hard conversations, sitting with therapists or mentors, choosing to look directly at old wounds instead of numbing past them. That is real labor, the kind that doesn't get applause, but the kind that actually changes a person permanently. The Hanged Man and the Hanged Man, okay, is very much again about peace. This person wants to be much more at peace. The Three of Cups and the Three of Cups here as well. They have a very good support system. There are some good friends that they have. There are some good family members they have. There are some good people around them. And I feel like all of these good people are encouraging them to just be better and to be stronger and to do more in that sense. And I want you to feel reassured by that circle, loves, because you're not just meeting one person in isolation. You're meeting someone who is genuinely loved and supported by people who know them well, which tells you a great deal about who they actually are underneath the surface. People who are difficult to love rarely keep good people around them for long, loves. And this person clearly has, and not to again be so bitter, if that makes sense, like to do more. And that's what I'm seeing here, is that there's just a lot more understanding and there's just a lot more going on in this sense. And I want to say, loves, that kind of understanding rarely comes from an easy life. It comes from someone who has actually lived through confusion and come out the other side able to name what they saw clearly. That clarity is a gift they're bringing directly to you. You won't have to guess what they mean, loves. They'll simply tell you, and this person not being as overwhelmed necessarily. So you're going to be in a relationship very unexpectedly. We already know that. And I want to remind you why that word unexpectedly is actually a gift, loves, not a flaw in the timing. Things you plan for and chase too hard often carry your own anxious fingerprints all over them. Things that arrive unexpectedly tend to be purer, less shaped by your own fear, more simply themselves. Let it stay that simple, loves. Don't overthink the timing into a problem it isn't. And I want to say something about that support system, loves, because people rarely heal completely alone. Somewhere in this person's life, there was a friend who kept showing up, a family member who kept believing in them even on the days they didn't believe in themselves. You are, in a way, inheriting the fruit of that community's quiet patience too. And I think that's a beautiful thing to sit with, loves, because you're not just getting one person. You're getting the whole ripple effect of everyone who ever believed in them along the way, the accumulated care of people who never even met you, but who helped shape the person now walking toward you. And maybe one day, loves, you get to meet some of those people too. The friend who never gave up on them. The family member who kept showing up, and you'll understand, seeing them together, exactly why this person turned out the way they did. Roots matter, loves, and this person's roots are good ones. You can build on good roots, loves, safely for a very long time. The Six of Pentacles here shows as well that this person is going to be earning more and more financially as time goes by. They will be very, very generous, okay? Very, very generous with their finances. This is not someone who is going to keep their finances for themselves and also yours, okay? No, they're not going to come after yours. This person is very generous in the sense that they will book you tickets, take you places, pay for things, and also just in terms of stability, things around the home, that is very much covered by them from what I'm seeing here. This person's very, very generous financially, very giving, very loving, very attentive. And I want to say something about generosity like this, loves, because real generosity was never about the size of the gesture. It's about attentiveness, noticing what you actually need before you even ask for it, and simply providing it without making it a transaction or a debt you owe them back. And this person here is someone who will want to share things with you. This person is also very generous because I do see some form of charity work or some kind of giving back. And I want to name why that quality matters so much in a partner, loves. Because someone who gives generously to strangers, people who owe them nothing, will almost certainly extend that same generosity of spirit to you every single day. Watch how they treat a waiter, loves, a stranger asking for directions, someone who can do absolutely nothing for them. That is the truest preview of how they'll treat you once the initial excitement of something new settles into something lasting. So that's something as well. They hate to see people struggle, and I think that is something that I'm picking up on, that they will try to help the needy where possible, and that quality, loves, tells you something important about their character beyond just how they'll treat you. How someone treats people who can do nothing for them in return is one of the truest measures of who they actually are. But they also are very, very cautious. It's interesting I said cautious. And we literally had the Justice card come out. Justice. This is not the kind of person, okay, that will have a bunch of people come to them and ask them for loans or ask them for money, and then they just willingly give all their money away. This is someone who will make sure that they and their family are stable first, and then they will, with disposable income, give away to help others, and they won't help people who won't give anything back. So, for example, if someone says, like, oh, I need to borrow this much money, can you help me? And then let's say they give that money, they will usually have people who will pay them back. They will usually have people who don't take advantage of them. And I want to name why that matters for you specifically, loves, because it means their generosity has real, healthy boundaries around it. They won't resent giving to you because giving for them has always been reciprocal, respected, never one-sided. That balance, loves, is exactly what makes it sustainable for years, not just weeks. This is the kind of person you're attracting. You're not attracting a person that has a lot of bad luck. You're attracting someone who has very good luck. And that's quite a good blessing, to be honest, especially with justice, right? And I want to explain why good luck matters here, loves. Beyond just being a nice bonus, someone who moves through the world with steady, earned good fortune tends to bring that same steady energy into a relationship. You're not attaching yourself to chaos. You're attaching yourself to stability that keeps expanding. That's the kind of foundation, loves, you get to build a whole life on top of. Like, there's some good karma coming your way. This person does have some good karma, I will say. Regardless of anything here, like, regardless of all the pain and the suffering and the sadness, it seems to me like they really turn things around to just become a stronger, more stable, more gracious person who is just better. It's not bitter. It's better. And I want to sit with justice a moment longer, loves, because this card always carries real balance in both directions. It isn't only about them being fair to others. It's about the universe being fair to them and to you, returning good measure for good measure on both sides of this connection. And I want to say something reassuring here, loves, because good karma isn't earned through perfection. It's earned through genuine effort to be fair, even when it would be easier not to bother. This person has clearly chosen that harder path repeatedly, and the universe notices patterns like that. So I want you to comment down below the affirmation, "It gets better, not bitter," okay? It's better, not bitter. Comment that down below to seal in the intention of this reading. And I want you to actually say it out loud too, loves, not just type it silently. It gets better, not bitter. There is something about your own voice claiming a phrase like that that settles it deeper than reading it ever could. Because I'm like, trust me as well, especially for your life as well. Like, continue to live your best life. Try not to be living in that bitter energy. Live in that better energy as well. Because trust me, it all just gets so much better. And I want to be clear, loves. Living in better energy doesn't mean pretending the hard parts didn't happen. It simply means choosing which story you let define you going forward. The one where you got hurt, or the one where you kept growing anyway. Choose the second one, loves, because it's the one that's true, and make sure to really seal in the intention. You have liked this reading. You are subscribed to me as well, because I manifest tenfold abundance to anyone that is interacting with my readings and subscribed. And I mean that genuinely, loves. Energy given freely tends to circle back multiplied, not as a transaction, but simply how energy naturally moves. So claim this fully, loves, and let it move through you freely too. And before the final message, I want to leave you with 3 small things to hold on to, loves. The first, don't let the frustration of the timing overshadow the genuine joy underneath it. Both feelings are allowed to exist at once, but don't let the why now question consume the whole moment when it actually arrives. You can ask it later, loves. You can even ask it directly to them, and probably should. But in the actual moment it happens, let yourself feel the good part first, before the analyzing kicks in. There will be plenty of time for the details later, loves, but the first moment deserves to be felt fully and simply, without your mind rushing ahead to solve it. Just be there for it, loves, fully, exactly as it happens. The second, when this person does explain themselves, and they will, listen for that specific honesty. I wanted to come sooner, but I couldn't. That kind of admission. Owning the delay without excusing it away entirely is exactly the maturity the King of Cups promised. And if what you hear instead sounds like excuse after excuse, loves, with no real ownership in it, that's worth paying attention to as well. The reading describes real maturity, and real maturity always sounds like accountability, not justification. Trust that difference, loves, when you actually hear it. Your instincts have gotten sharper through everything you've been through, and they will tell you clearly which version you're hearing. Everything you've survived taught you something valuable, loves, and that lesson is finally about to pay off in the best possible way. And the third, let them be generous without overanalyzing it. The 6 of Pentacles and Justice both confirmed this is real, measured, trustworthy giving, not a manipulation tactic. You're allowed to simply receive it. And I know some of you, loves, have been taught to be suspicious of generosity, because in the past it often came with strings attached. This is different. The 6 of Pentacles here is balanced by justice specifically, which means this giving is fair, clean, and freely offered, with nothing hidden underneath it. You are allowed to let your guard down here, loves, slowly, at your own pace, but genuinely. This specific person has earned that trust, card by card, before you've even met them. And that's a strange, wonderful thing, loves, to arrive already trusting instead of having to build it entirely from scratch. And I want to answer one more thing before the final message, loves. Why this reached you now with this much specific detail. You needed to see the full shape of this before it arrives unexpectedly, exactly as the Fool promised. so that when it happens, you recognize it fully instead of being too thrown off by the timing to receive it. And I want to speak to the small, doubting part of you for a moment, loves, the one that's read all of this and is quietly thinking, but what if I misread the signs when it actually happens? Trust yourself here. The Eight of Cups and King of Cups both confirmed real depth in this person, and depth like that doesn't hide well once you're actually standing in front of it. You'll feel it, loves, in the small, ordinary moments as much as the big ones. Real depth shows itself in how someone listens, not just in grand declarations. And I want to speak to the small, doubting part of you for a moment, loves. The one that's heard all of this and is quietly thinking, but what if it's not really them? What if I'm wrong about who this is? That voice is not wisdom. It's a pattern built from being disappointed before, trying to protect you from hoping too much again. Just for tonight, loves, set that voice down completely. This is already in motion, loves. The Fool showed the sudden, unexpected arrival already forming. The Eight of Cups showed their soul searching already complete. The King of Cups showed the emotional maturity already there, waiting to be shown to you. The Hanged Man and Three of Cups showed the peace and support already surrounding them. The Six of Pentacles and Justice showed the generosity and good karma already flowing your way. Stay open, loves. Expect the unexpected. And I want to remind you, loves, you don't have to do anything dramatic to receive this. You don't have to force it, chase it, or perform readiness you don't actually feel yet. Your only job right now is to keep living your full life and let this arrive on its own timing, exactly as the Fool always does. No elaborate ritual required, loves. No complicated steps to follow. Simply living, simply noticing, simply staying open when it finally arrives. So let me lay this all out one final time, loves. Slowly, so it settles into your bones. Someone is about to enter your life, suddenly, unexpectedly, at exactly the moment you're least focused on finding them. The Fool confirmed the sudden, Uranus-ruled timing of their arrival. The Eight of Cups confirmed the real soul-searching they did before coming forward. The King of Cups confirmed the emotional maturity, kindness, and respect they now bring. The Hanged Man confirmed the peace they finally found. And the Three of Cups confirmed the good people surrounding and supporting them. The Six of Pentacles confirmed real, generous, growing financial stability. And Justice confirmed fairness, good karma, and balance on both sides of this connection. Every card in this spread, loves. Every single one pointing in the exact same direction. No confusion, no contradiction. Just one clear, steady story of someone real, finally arriving. One message. It gets better, not bitter. Let this arrive exactly when you least expect it. And I want to leave you with one final thought, loves, before we close completely. A year from now, or maybe far sooner than that, you're going to look back on this exact reading, the one where you sat here wondering if any of this was real, and you're going to smile at how much you worried, the way we always smile at old fears once life has finally plainly answered them. So let tonight be the last night you doubt it, loves. The pursuit is real, the timing is unusual, and the ending, whichever way it unfolds, is happy. Claim this, loves. Drop a comment and say it gets better, not bitter. Because every word of that is true. Save this. Come back and tell me when it happens. If this resonated, please give this video a thumbs up. Drop a comment and tell me what hit hardest. And if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Take care of yourself. Bye, loves.